Joining us now to talk more about the Artemis II mission is SU Professor Emeritus, former NASA administrator. I could keep going with his resume, but we want to save time for questions. We're so lucky to have Sean O'Keefe here. Sean, thanks for being here. Great to see you. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Jeff. Great to see you as well.
I know, and you know this very well, the mission is not over, of course, until these astronauts are safe back here on Earth. But and we'll get to that part of it in a minute. What has it been like so far watching this whole mission?
Historic. This is really an outstanding accomplishment that they have really already gone through and made the farthest distance we've ever traveled with humans in a spacecraft. It's done the same circuit around the moon, but much further distance out and back in. So it is the reconnaissance itself on what the next mission will look like when they land. Has been thorough, and so as a consequence, really seeing, the Earth from an entirely different perspective is the point that I think has gotten the most amount of coverage from the astronauts as well as from all the folks in your business who really followed that.
I'm very curious. Go back to your time in NASA. So we're going back a little bit, 2001, 2005. Could you ever have imagined we'd be here at this point?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was always the long-term goal.
This was the idea. Matter of fact, it's taken us a little longer to get here. Yeah. But you want to make sure you get it right. And the concept of returning to the moon and doing so for a number of very specific exploration as well as infrastructure creation reasons was articulated at that time by President Bush. And he laid out a vision for space exploration that was to return to the moon for the purpose of not only examining what's there and understanding that better, but also dealing with what we have discovered about what's on the lunar surface. We thought it was a great place to hit golf balls before. But that's 50 years ago, and what we've learned now since is the capacity for minerals as well as energy sources and a wide range of capabilities that come from being on a lunar surface where it's 1/6 of the gravity of this planet. It means you can launch from there much easier than you can from here.
I'm very curious. I want to go back to what we're dealing with today. What do you think the anxiety level is among everybody at NASA and many other people in the country, the world, as we wait for these astronauts to come back in? This is the most, by far, dangerous part of the whole entire mission, is getting them back to Earth.
It is. I mean, in the sense that the re-entry is a very complicated sequence. It comes in at 24,000 miles an hour, and you're experiencing 5,000 degree temperatures for a matter of, no more than about 10 minutes, but that's enough to really change the trajectory. So it is appropriately a very important focused area of the mission and the operations in order to get this part right. And every mission, doesn't matter, has got a risk attached to it that is significant. No matter how hard we have spent in the last 65, 70 years trying to drive risk out of this equation, it's still there. There's no doubt. Anytime you're going to strap people into a rocket and then fire it off, this is a very serious proposition, and it's a controlled explosion. So as a consequence, you're really running the risk every time to do this.
Heat bringing them back is just so intense. I can't even imagine. I mean, is that probably the biggest thing they have to worry about, is the heat?
Sure.
It's not the speed so much. They got that figured out, but it's the heat.
Speed you can adjust based on the trajectory and the point of deorbiting. And there's all kinds of things you can do to mitigate the consequences of so much of the temperature draw. But it still, nonetheless, is you're compressing molecules, creating this thermal condition that is profoundly intense.
I want to talk, you mentioned a little bit about some of the things we have learned. So what does that do for us as we look ahead to Artemis III, Artemis IV, which will be eventually landing people back on the moon? Did we learn enough? Are we right on track still?
I think so. It is, and the articulation from Jared Isaacman, The new NASA administrator has been very, very comprehensive in looking at this as a opportunity to really think in terms of a sustaining capacity on the moon in order to establish an infrastructure, build the things that are necessary in order to fully explore and research the capacity of what the lunar surface has to offer. And again, from energy resources and minerals that we just didn't have any clue 50 years ago were there. Today, it is an entirely different understanding.
I can only imagine what the debrief will be like. Obviously, we've seen pictures from back there, but what are debriefs after missions and what you could maybe anticipate that would be like for this one?
They're in two varieties, I always found. What are the things you've noticed that didn't go the way you thought you were planning to do it? And how do you adjust for that? And then what are the things that went right that you now look at and say, that was still a more complicated way of doing it. We should have tried a different method. So it's a constant learning, every single flight. And no mission has ever been operational. They've all been developmental. And so as a consequence, from the shuttle days, from the beginning to the end, every one of those was discovery of different ways of doing things that were part of the process and finding a way to do it safer, more efficiently, and in a way that would assure the safety of the crew on return.
It's an incredible day, and again, we are so lucky to have you and have your insight on this. We really appreciate you coming in and being here. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jeff. Sure appreciate it.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.